We want you to know what we're all about.
So we've created this travel channel. So right now we are concentrating on safe journeys that you can take during COVID.
My initials are RU, so we always start with, are you ready?
Mine, of course, then begin with see you. So it's see you later, see you soon.
Knowing that, CR becomes obvious.
So we are hoping we leave you with a smile on your face, knowing these little things.
We wanted to talk a little bit about restaurants.
Some of our restaurants are not following the guidelines, but some of them are staying safe and doing the right thing.
One of the things that's important to the state is that they're able to track the COVID situation. If a person tests positive, they want to be able to track back and see who they've been in contact with. One of the things that they're doing, and some of the restaurants are not doing it properly, but many of them, the better ones, the ones that are doing it properly, they want your first name, your last name of each person in your party, and they want your phone number. First name, last name, and your phone number. They should also ask you to wear a mask. Keep your mask on until you're actually served food or drinks. These are things that are normal, and these are things that we all have to get used to. This is going to be like this for a while.
They're also having either paper menus or they have a QR code that you can scan and put on your phone and read it.
Paper menus should be thrown away at the end. If you see a restaurant that maybe they had a paper menu and they laminated it and they're cleaning it off, it's the same as having a menu. But they have to give you a paper menu, and it needs to be thrown away at the end, or even you just take it home.
Also, there are no condiments in the restaurants that are you're able to reuse. They're giving you little packages: salt, pepper, A1, ketchup. If you're not doing it already, you probably should keep a Ziploc bag in your purse or your pocket. Some of them have it, some don't, or it's not enough.
They give you little tiny packages of salt. Like, you're only going to use a little bit of salt. Maybe you should, but if you want a lot of salt or a lot of pepper, it's going to be easier to bring your own. We've been carrying our own salt and pepper, and you can even bring your own A1 sauce. They're going to give you a little thing of ketchup because they can't give you packages. I mean, there's so many things that they're not allowed to do, and you can make it easier on yourself by just going along with the program and doing it yourself.
Also, the food prices have gone up. Gas prices are down. Kind of like it's part of the times that we're in.
Well, one of the things that's happened is that there's no happy hours, no specials, nothing like that. So when you look at the food prices, they've gone up a little bit. We would eat the same things when we went to a restaurant, places locally, and what happens is they might be up $5, $10, which is not uncommon. They've lost a lot of money, and they have to make it up someplace. The average cost has been about 20% more, 10 to 20% more on a regular basis, and we've noticed it pretty much across the board everywhere we've gone.
We've also noticed that there's been a lot of restaurants that went ahead and they have cordoned off an area where you can eat outside because you cannot eat inside. Some of them have made it really nice. Some of them just kind of slapped it together. But the point is, they're eating outside, and they are distancing the tables to be COVID safe.
With the color code that they've put together in the state of California, until that color code gets to yellow, I believe that that's the right spot, but San Diego, for instance, right now is in yellow. People are back eating indoors, but they're also distanced, and there's not as many people indoors, and there's dividers. There's a lot of different things that are in place, but they are eating indoors. Now, Los Angeles, Northern California, San Francisco, everybody's eating outdoors. That also makes it so that the hours end up being less. You know, people, it's colder, the weather's different. The weather is different every place you go. And it could be different from day to day. It could be 115 degrees outside and people are eating outside. It's something we have to live with, and it's what we have to do. But as soon as we get to a point, as soon as we get to that yellow zone, then you're going to be able to go back indoors again. But that means you're going to have that name and phone number is going to be real important.
Also, a lot of places are offering you takeout, including your beverage takeout. Please note that there are a lot of picnic tables or picnic areas that are closed, including the restrooms. This is a big deal. We've been traveling. If you need a restroom,
when we travel, no gas station restrooms available. Some fast food places. When we were in Fort Bragg, we couldn't find a place. We had to go to a Safeway store in order to use the restroom. It's a bad thing. You know, who said that because of COVID you didn't have to use the restroom? I don't get it. You can't explain that one to me. I don't get into politics. I'm not a doctor, but the one thing is, no matter if you're going down the street and you need to use a restroom, you need to go someplace. Where's it going to be? The other thing is picnic areas. All the state parks, all the national parks, every picnic area is closed. You know, you can take out food, but you're going to have to eat in your car. Put a blanket on the ground. They'd rather have you eat on the ground than having a picnic area open where you could sit and eat. Doesn't make sense, but that's the way that it is. It's the whole idea is that people don't congregate. And when we travel, if things get too tight and people are congregating too much, we just have learned and know in our head we need to distance ourselves, and maybe there's a better time and a better place to see it.
We just basically turn around and say, this is too convoluted, let's leave. We just make that choice. So recently, I went ahead and said, hey, I'm looking at this hotel bill. What are all these extra added charges? I'm not understanding. So I asked him, and we did a little bit of research.
I started looking at things, and I said, well, some of them I don't know what they are. So let's find out what they are. The room charge, everybody knows what the room charge is. And then we have a city tax. And then we have a convention and tourism tax. And then we've got a California local tourism fee. California local tourism fee is based on $1,950 per $1 million of revenue for the hotel. How can you figure out what that is? We don't know. They're $1,950 per $1 million of revenue. They divide it up, and then you get the charge. And the charge on here, 17 cents. So that's 17 cents a day that I have to pay that I don't know what it is. And that's basically supposed to go to the state for tourism. That's the best I can tell you. That I don't know. Hotel taxes is about 14% for convention and tourism tax. 14% in California for tourism tax. So that's an extra. That's the tourism tax. Okay, so tourism tax was $2.36. So it's $2.36 for that, and then the California tourism fee was 17 cents on this bill, and that's only based on that one hotel. Now, and then you end up with a city tax on top of that. Now, Christina said, but Las Vegas doesn't have tax. But they do. Their tax, just their tax for the city of Las Vegas is 13.35%. The state wants 6.5%. So those are things that are just tacked on to your bill. Now that's for Las Vegas. Now California, it depends on what city you're in, and in this case we were in Rancho Bernardo, and it cost us $12.39 per night for tax. $12. It's quite a bit, I think, but that's the way it is. But then you've got the room charge, the city tax, the convention and tourism tax, the California local tourism fee, and all these things you don't complain about, you don't say anything about, because that's just normal things. Those are the taxes that you voted for, so you get to pay them. And so there's no way to complain to anybody. You either pay it or you don't stay there, one or the other. But the problem is, on top of that, now you got the resort fee and you got the parking fee. And all these places are going through the roof with the resort fee and the parking fee. And everybody is complaining about the resort fee. So in some cases they say, oh, no resort fee. They don't say that about the parking fee. And the parking fee is $30 to $50 a night. What, you built a hotel with no parking? This is not true. The hotel, by city permit, had to have parking. By the state permit, had to have parking when they built it for every room. Now you're going to pay every night for that parking that they had to put in to begin with. If the place is next to some place that has 10,000 parking spaces, doesn't matter, you're going to pay for your parking. If you're in Las Vegas, they have parking set aside especially for guests on the room. If they have 2,000 rooms, they have 2,000 parking spaces. You're going to pay for it because that's how they make extra money. Wouldn't it be nice, especially in a COVID environment, wouldn't it be nice if you had just told me what it's going to cost to begin with? Instead of telling me it's $49 a night for a hotel room, just tell me that it's going to be $150 and we'll all be happy. We'll all know what we need to spend.
Well, say that you book a room. It's $49 a night. You're going to stay there 3 nights. Think, okay, that's about what? Roughly $150. But no. Now you have that 13.38 sales tax. Now you just bumped it up. And it brings your total to $167. Instead of that $150 you originally thought. Then you have a $25 resort fee. Plus parking, you're talking anywhere from $250 to $300.
Per night?
Per night. No, that was for the 3 nights.
Oh, for 3 nights.
For 3 nights now, instead of you're spending $150, now you're going to spend $250 to $300, depending on who's charging for parking, what the resort fees are, and what their taxes are.
You thought that you were going to get a room for $49 a night. Didn't happen. You got a nice room. That's all you care. You had a nice stay. You had a lot of fun. But wouldn't it have been even better if they'd have just told you what it was going to cost? This is something we've got to figure out how to work it out with these hotels so that they stop adding on fees. One of the things with this resort fee, now some places, people are even suing the places to get the resort fee back. What does the resort fee actually handle? I looked that up. I said, what is a resort fee? Okay, resort fee is if it's got a gym and a pool, in-room safes, coffee makers, free breakfast or a complimentary breakfast, and Wi-Fi. People are suing because why are they paying for Wi-Fi? You can't charge for the internet. So, the hotels are paying attention to that. And they're saying, well, resort fees are less, or, they're not charging as much. Maybe they waive them altogether. But they're getting you with the parking. Because what are you going to do about parking? You got to park. Here's what you do. If you complain about the resort fee, you might have to pay it anyway. The parking, if you tell them you Ubered, you're not going to have to pay a parking. Or if you complain about anything in the room, the first thing that they'll say is, I'll take the parking fee off.
We've seen that happen when we were in Colorado.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we recently had it happen. All of a sudden, the air conditioner, for whatever reason in the room, stopped working at 2 o'clock in the morning. And it got hot. And we complained about it and said, the air conditioning stopped working. It was hard to sleep because it was too hot in the room. They said, we'll take the parking fee off. Did they give us less on the room? No. Still had to pay for the room. But we got the parking fee off. That's the way it goes. Tourism is slowly coming back, but on a regular basis, it's a little more local. It's people like you and I going someplace for the day, for the evening, for the night. Maybe it's a getaway for the weekend. But they're not making the kind of money that they were. They were making a lot of money. And they were bringing in a lot of taxes. And all that's all gone away. And it's probably going to be that way for a while. We all have to kind of live with it. We have to wear our mask. We have to do the social distancing. We have to do the things that are right and not gather as a group and live with the way that things are for a little bit. Eventually it'll all work out. And one of the things that we've tried to do with our channel is we're trying to show people that we can do this and that we can all do it together.
And safely.
And do it safely. All right, I wanted to say one thing about the parking. Now, the Las Vegas Strip for decades, years, forever, never charged for parking.
No.
You would have to pay for parking when you went downtown because there's very little parking there, and you had parking structures, and you had to pay for that. But when you were on the Strip, a lot of parking areas. I remember you used to valet the car, and they just take the car, and whatever you gave the valet guy was $5 or whatever. That's what it cost you to park. Not anymore. Now there's parking fees everywhere you go. There's only 11 places on the Strip in Las Vegas where you don't have to pay for parking. That's pretty sad. But the really sad thing is the rates are from $8 to $30. $8 to $30.
So we did a little research and say, picture the Lexor, for example, which has 1,600 parking spaces. Whenever we've driven there, the parking garage is pretty full. However, even if they are only 2/3 full, that's roughly 1,000 parking spaces. Okay? Pretty much you're renting the space. But at a daily parking rate of $10 at the Lexor, okay, at the 1,000 parking spaces, that's an extra $10,000 per day that they're making, that they normally, before, you could park for free. But now if you times that, times 365 days in the whole year, that's $3.65 million for parking, just alone. They didn't even make that with gambling. I mean, I'm sure it's more, but...
They already take your money from gambling.
Yeah, right?
They already take your money for gambling.
This blew my mind.
Now they're making $3.65 million
on parking.
Blew
my mind.
You're gambling, keeping your car there.
That's right. It was crazy, the mind-boggling statistics.
What's really crazy, especially when you talk about Las Vegas, is there's lots of places to park. Now, when you talk about San Francisco, not very many places to park, and they even have places where they park your car and they put it up on a crane and they put it inside of the place and it goes up and they park at multiple levels on the inside of the thing with a like a forklift almost to put your car up. Those are common things in San Francisco because there's not very many places to park, and parking is a lot tighter and a lot harder to find. Now, but parking in San Francisco can run from $36 to $50 to $60 a night just to park. And that doesn't matter if you're at a hotel or where you're at. That's what it's going to cost you to park because there's less spaces to park. But it doesn't make any sense in Las Vegas. It's just all it is greed. That's just greed. We're going off on things, but these are things to keep in mind when you're traveling, and the problem has gotten worse since the COVID because these places are not making money. You're going to pay for it in the long run, and they'll find other ways to get you to pay for it. They're making up the money in a different way, and they're showing you, lower prices. That's an important thing.
Yeah, but we're showing you the lower prices. Now you've got all these resort fees and these taxes and then the parking. So just tell me the flat bottom rate. I'm happy.
One of the things right now, if you want to stay in a really nice hotel, most of them are still charging a lot of money. But a lot of money before might have been $400 a night, and now that $400 a night is $200 a night. And things that were $150 a night are now $80 a night. So you can stay in a nice hotel for a lot less money. But they're going to get you with these other resort charges and the parking fees. But you're still going to have a nicer stay when you go. And in the nicer hotels, they do things nicer as far as cleanliness, making sure that things are COVID safe, Anyway, we hope you enjoyed our vlog. We didn't want to sound like we were going off the deep end on anything, but we're trying to help people and help be a little more informed about traveling and about what it's like to travel with the COVID environment. We'll see you later.
And make sure you are ready for an adventure on our next one.
Please like and subscribe.